The Frog Prince. In a land far, far away, there was a king. He had a very beautiful daughter. On the little princess's birthday, the king gave her an exquisitely made gold ball. The little princess liked the gold ball very much. She carried it with her wherever she went. Behind the palace was a forest. In the forest was a very deep pond. The little princess often liked to play next to the pond. When she was bored, she would take out the gold ball and begin tossing it into the air and catching it. One day, the little princess was playing by the pond as usual when she accidentally dropped the gold ball into the pond. The little princess was so sad that she began to cry. As she was crying, she suddenly heard a loud voice say, "Pretty little princess, what's the matter?" The little princess was surprised to see a frog sitting on a lily pad. The princess replied, "It's you who's talking. My favorite gold ball has fallen into the water." The frog said, "If I help you get your gold ball back, what will you do for me?" The little princess hurriedly replied, "Anything you want." The frog said, "I would like to be your friend, play with you, eat on your little plate, and sleep on your little bed." "No problem, whatever you like," the little princess said. But actually, she thought to herself, "You are so ugly. I would never be friends with you." The frog believed what the princess said, so he helped her find the gold ball. When the little princess got her gold ball back, she quickly ran off. The next evening, when the little princess was getting ready to eat, she heard a tapping noise outside the door. The noise became louder and louder, clearer and clearer, as if something was walking up the marble staircase. The little princess opened the door to look, and there stood the frog. The little princess closed the door with a thump and went back to her seat. Outside the door, one could hear the voice of the frog saying, "Little princess, quickly open the door. Yesterday, next to the deep, deep pond, I helped you find your gold ball. Have you forgotten your promise?" The king looked at the little princess and asked, "What is all this about? What promise?" The little princess had no choice but to tell the king everything that had happened. When the king heard, he sternly told the little princess, "You must keep your word. Quickly, let him in." The little princess had no choice but to open the door. As soon as he entered, he wanted to get up on the dinner table to eat. The little princess didn't want to let him, but the king stared at her, so she had no choice but to put the frog on the dinner table. The frog gobbled up his food, but the little princess had no appetite at all. Finally, the frog finished eating. Satisfied, he patted his belly and said, "So delicious! Now I want to go to sleep on your little bed. Please carry me over to your bed." The little princess wasn't willing. The king knew what the little princess was thinking and said, "The frog is very ugly, but his heart is good. You mustn't judge people by the way they look." The little princess listened to the king and carried the frog to her bedroom. But she was still not willing to let the frog sleep in her little bed. So she put the frog on a chair. The frog saw that the little princess didn't want him, so he curled up on the chair and began to cry. The little princess felt bad for him. Feeling guilty, she helped the frog wipe his tears. The frog was so happy he jumped into the air. He asked the princess to give him a kiss. Before, the little princess definitely would not have kissed an ugly frog. But now, she unhesitatingly picked him up and kissed him lightly on the forehead. Suddenly, the frog began emitting a bright golden light. It was so bright that the little princess couldn't open her eyes. When the golden light had faded away, the little princess opened her eyes to find that the frog had disappeared. Instead, standing in front of her was a little, handsome, noble prince. The little prince told the little princess that he was the son of a king from a neighboring kingdom. Once, when he was hunting in the forest, he encountered a wicked witch. The witch magically changed him into a frog, and only a princess's kiss could change him back. The little princess told the king about what had happened to the little prince. The king invited the little prince to live in the palace for a while. During that time, the little prince and the little princess became very close friends. A few years later, they were all grown up. The little prince asked the little princess to marry him. The little princess bashfully nodded her head. They had a magnificent wedding. Everyone said that they were a perfect match.